Hey, true believers, Chris Mack coming at you with another Yo-Jo action figure review. Today we're going over the G.I. Joe Classified Series, G.I. Joe Origins, Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow. Blah, what a mouthful on that one. And this figure I was on the fence about picking up because I'm just wondering why it's so hard for Hasbro to just give us an old school looking Snake Eye, Storm Shadow like they did with Snake Eyes. But even they flubbed it up on the beginning, so they didn't even give us a timber, which I'm very upset that they were really releasing him with the timber where I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to buy another Snake Eyes just for another timbers. No. Anyway, at least I could say I have a Storm Shadow, because he has all these different variances, so this is what I settled on. If you guys want to pick this up, please, first and foremost, support your local comic shop and see if he is in stock. Or if not, I've seen that he is available both on Big Bad Toy Store and Dorkside Toys. So with that said, you see G.I. Joe Classified, Snake Eyes there, and I like that they use, I think that's the clan's tattoos, because both him and Snake Eyes have that. If I'm wrong, feel free to make fun of me down in the comments. Come around to the side, you get a movie product shot, which is not bad, but I don't think I'll probably be watching the movie anytime soon. Come around to the back, and then, of course, you get a cool-looking image of Snake Eyes, which we know is still from the movie, so it's kind of like a... I guess they didn't learn from X-Men Origins Wolverine. Anyway, come around to the side, and some of these logos I'm still not 100% familiar with. So if you guys can kind of brush me up down in the comments, let me know. Come back around to the front. On the top, 17, logo there, nothing on the bottom. So let's get this figure out and see if this movie version is worth a flip or not. Here's Storm Shadow out of the packaging, and he's an okay looking figure. I mean, you play with him a little bit, warmed him up some, and you at least get some really cool fighting ninja poses. I wish that they would have waited and released an old school comic/cartoon version, but that's neither here nor there. At least we get a cool looking ninja. And that's kind of how I'm having to look at this review, because if I'm thinking Storm Shadow, then I'm disappointed. So with that said, even though this doesn't look like the character that we know, there is some cool stuff and some frustrating stuff. So let's go ahead and take a closer look. Backstory on this Storm Shadow, I'm not going to do the movie version because I don't care. I needed a Storm Shadow for my collection. I didn't like the variants that Hasbro released, and then they dropped this one. And I'm thinking, is it too hard to just release a comic/cartoon accurate version of this guy, just like they did with, what do you call him, the Snake Eyes? I'm guessing so. Anyway, his first appearance was Marvel's G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, number 21 from March of 1984. We've gone over that comic, and it's absolutely amazing. There's zero dialogue. Everything's done through the artwork. I highly recommend checking out the review and reading the comic if you can find an inexpensive copy. Now, as the time went on, in G.I. Joe number 26 from May of 1984, they explored both this character and Snake Eyes' origins. So let's kind of briefly go over that. It's during the Vietnam War, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow became friends, and then once they got out of the war, Snake Eyes joined Storm Shadow's clan, and Snake's abilities surpassed Storm Shadow's, and their master, who was Storm Shadow's uncle, took notice, which caused a rift in these two's friendships. And then eventually an assassin killed Storm Shadow's uncle, who, from what I understand, was Zartan in disguise. That's just interesting how they tied that together. But what happens is Storm Shadow blames Snake Eyes, and that's why he pursues to Cobra, and that's as much of his comic history as I know. If you guys know more, let me know down in the comments, as well as comics to read, because I'm always looking for stuff like that to read. It's always interesting to me. Now, what trips me out is the original 83 cartoon. They didn't explore the relationship between these two, even though they were so, they resembled each other so much. And then, of course, in this, from what I understand, Storm Shadow was always a loyal Cobra agent for the entire duration of the show, which I'm assuming he went AWOL at some point. If you guys know what issue from the original Marvel comics, let me know. Now, with that said, let's look at the accessories he does come with. Now, I've never seen Storm Shadow without his mask, so I don't know how close they got in terms of the movie actor. But for a head sculpt, not bad. You know, flesh color looks good. Hair looks nice. Though if this, you know, again, if this was a comic character, I wish they would have put some of that blue like they used to do in the older comics to show that the black was black hair, but they'd always put blue highlights in it. Eyebrows don't look too bad. Eyes are good. At least they don't look googly. I like that scar right below the eye. Looks good. Lips look human, so nothing looks too goofy. So at least you get an unmasked version, which is always nice. And then he comes with a scabbard, which my focus is just not playing with me today. It looks like 2 coffee mugs, but it plugs relatively easy into his back. And he comes with 2 katanas that look relatively the same. I really do like the design they did on the blade. Kind of gave it that lifted serration, and I like how the sheen just reflects with the light nicely. The gold towards the bottom looks nice. The blade guard looks good. Handle's nice. Hilt, everything looks good. And then you take them, and just like so, like a glove, to quote Ace Ventura. So I'm glad that unlike the Snake Eyes that we went over, where he had all those guns, you could almost store everything, but you had to get a little creative, as where this character only comes with katanas. And I don't know, I like the way that they're offset. Just something about it kind of gives it an off-symmetrical look that I like. So those are all the accessories. Now the character himself, he's more yellow. So it's just, I guess you can consider Storm Shadow and call him PP Shadow. Get it? Yellow. And, you know, if this wasn't marketed as Storm Shadow and it was just like a Cobra operative or a Cobra ninja, I could buy that more. Because there's no, you know, Cobra signage on him. He doesn't have his clan's red. What is his clan called? Oh man, I cannot pronounce it. Help me out with that, guys. I always have a hard time pronouncing the name of his clan. But you know, you're used to him, you know, his muscles showing, and he'd have that tattooed on his arm, just like Snake Eyes did. But again, for a character, you know, belt's cool. I'm glad that the coat is kind of more of a pliable plastic, so you can at least move the legs around. And I like that, just like with the head sculpt that we just looked at, even though it's masked, at least it looks somewhat right, even though the eyebrows on this one are a little more bushy. But still, they look relatively similar to each other. Mask looks good. Ripples where it's supposed to go, where the ears would go, the contortion of the skull. Back looks good. At least they kept all the colors the way they're supposed to. Ripples of the clothing. The armor looks neat. I like that shoulder padding there. So, you know, for the paint apps for a figure, you know, it looks good. I especially like the way that the collar here on the shirt kind of flaps down. Kind of just gives it some character. So for the paint apps itself, trying to ignore that this is Storm Shadow, looks good. The articulation on this guy is it's so-so. So his head can go down about that much. And again, warm your figures up before you do anything. I made sure to warm this guy up, and that's as far as I get the head to go down. If you're gentle enough, the head can go up that high. And of course, you kind of can rock back and forth on the peg, so that's good. You get a little bit of play. Head can go that way. Head can go that way. Arms, 360. Can go that much that way. That much that way. Good double jointed elbows, thankfully. Hand spins, 360. And then it's kind of weird that they put, let me show you real quick. So the peg that moves the hand up and down, instead of putting it at the top and bottom where you can move it this way, they set it to where the hand's like this and it goes that way, which I don't like it when they do that, because, you know, if you want to get the villain pose, you have to bend it this way, but you can't do that, which is like, damn it. The ab crunch, not too bad, not too bad. does have upper bicep swivel. Now the waist is very freaking finicky, so you have to be very careful. Because even when you bend him that way, it feels like he's going to snap. So be dadgum careful. Each time I hear that snap, I'm like, oh God, I just broke it. So yeah, and I'm not really feeling it with this character, but it is what it is. Leg can go out that much for a good kick. And then because of this, you have to play around with it. And he does kind of have that butt flap that the legends suffer from. So his leg can go back, but that's going sideways, which if you want to go do a back kick or whatever, that's going to look like crap. He does have upper thigh cut, no boot swivel. Come on, Hasbro. You think they would have paid attention to their legends line and how good they're doing. Semi double jointed knees, so you can kind of at least get some ninja stuff going on. Foot go up that way, foot go down that way. Does spin, and if you look, I don't know if my figure's getting ready to break or if this is a belt-end thing where, see how it looks like he's kind of popping out of his socket there? I notice you can pull his leg up and down, so I'm guessing that's an addition. So maybe, well, you can get a little bit better pushing the leg back when you dip the leg up and down. So there's that option. But do be careful, because once I started doing that, the leg got really loose. So the articulation, it is what it is. But, you know, after I've messed with so many multiverses and legends, the articulation on this one is subpar, in my opinion. For what this figure is, I can't complain too much. We get a ninja. The only thing, I haven't seen the movie, but just judging on the design here, I hate that his uniform looks more like a businessman's suit with some flapping coat wings. You know, when we see Storm Shadow in the comics, cartoons, we know exactly who he is because he wears his gi with the cut off arms, and that's him. This, I don't know, I feel like I could take this figure, paint the outlines black, and I feel like I'd have more like a Phantom X figure from X-Men. But again, it is what it is. The figure doesn't look bad. I just hate that they're marketing it as Storm Shadow. I wish Hasbro would give us a real version already. Accessories, I'm glad he comes with his katanas, his backpack, and an extra head. Those type of accessories always help enhance an action figure. I just do not like this design for the movie. Oh, does it bug? Does it bug? But anyway, articulation, it's so-so as we went over. There are some things, like I said, to hate. But overall, at least it's a nice sculpted figure. So at that, at least give it a C. If you enjoyed the movie, then by all means, this is definitely going to be up your alley. If you're more the original comic fan or a cartoon, this is going to drive you up the wall and frost you like it did me. But at least you can get some good poses out of them. At least the paint apps are clean and look nice. And again, the accessories look good. So it's up to y'all. If you've enjoyed this figure, please first and foremost support your local comic shop and see if they have one in stock. If not, you can check out the places we talked about at the beginning of this review. And if you've enjoyed the review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little Cobra bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with you and hearing your feedback down in the comments below or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, photo slideshow coming up next, and I hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.